I began experimenting with the Manowar Overkill Loadout Sunday, and now it is Friday, so I am going to do the conclusions. But first of all, I have to note that I already have an emergency loadout against those pesky Skostrix like Stealth Choppers, Vitols, Chopper Gunners, whatnot, and I'm very pleased with it because I have Greed Pack, which gives me better mobility, and also I have PDW, which is a very nice meta gun, and I have a chance to steal these Skostrix with the blue pack. So I wanted my Manowar loadout to serve me well from the start of the match until the end. I wanted for it to not be an emergency loadout, but a whole full loadout. And so this is the Manowar Gunsmith, and I tried it out with these 6 weapons. All of them we have a pretty sizable mag, and I think either of them is a solid companion to play with Manowar. However, not all of them were really that good. For instance, PP90 Bizon I did not like simply because it is not aggressive enough. Oh, and proper usage of the Manowar loadout is that you kind of have to use it primarily as a Manowar loadout, not have it as a secondary just to kill Skostrix, because it has just great range, kills enemies quickly, unless we have like Dauntless and Flak Jacket, then you should just not use it against people or against that particular player. But it is just the lead gun, the Manowar. And meanwhile, the side gun, it has to be as a backup option, it has to be well aggressive to have many bullets, because Manowar has only 15 bullets with Thermite mag 1, and you need good mobility, good bullets, and a pretty decent range, and you need to be able to take down a few enemies, because like, if you see that there are too many of them and you won't be able to take them down with Manowar, you have to switch. And so PP90 Bizon, it has good mid-range, but not that great of a close range, and so it is, in my opinion, just lacking. And I really liked other options better. But, I mean, it is not a bad option to pair if you really want to use PP90 Bizon, but I just don't think that it is worth it. CBR4, after the set of buffs it has received, it is basically a faster variant of PP90 Bizon nowadays, which is pretty funny because earlier when the CBR4 was dominant, PP90 Bizon was like a slightly faster variant for it. But anyway, so being the fastest, the added speed, it does make it more viable. And I think that between those two I would go for the CBR4 rather than the Bizon, because you do need to be more mobile. And another very annoying thing with Overkill loadouts is that when you're switching from one weapon to another, it takes time. It is not as fast and smooth as it would be when you're switching from melee, like back and forth, which means that maybe not always, but you will be losing gunfights when you have to switch from one weapon to another, and enemies are closer to you because of that delay. It will, and there is no way to prevent it, like it will just happen if you're doing the switch and you die, as it takes longer. Also, melee would help to sprint faster, which is relevant in the hardpoint, as you need to move from one objective area to another, and they are often pretty far away one from other, and so I think that Overkill loadout overall is better in domination, where the main points we are stagnant, like they don't change. But yeah, so I don't think that I want to use it in hardpoint, but in domination it is quite splendid. Now CBFR itself, well, I do like it better than the Bizon, but other options would be superior choices in my opinion. FFAR-1 has better range and good fire rate. It is the second fastest assault rifle after the BP-50. However, as I concluded in my video where I was trying to find a replacement to BP-50, it is not the best in terms of mobility, which is not ideal in this loadout, although in domination like it could be okay, but for me I did not like that aspect, and I think that FFAR-1 is best to be used in a greed loadout with some mobility pack like Skulka, because then it is really good. But alongside the Overkill and Manowar, I think it is kind of lacking. Like, for a bit of a more passive playstyle you can actually use it, but like it's just not for me. However, since this video is overall testing conclusion, it might be good for you, so you could really try it out. Idiot that I am, I have accidentally deleted the gameplay footage with the USS-9 while moving the screen recordings to the good folder and deleting the rest, that were like not good recordings, and so I cannot show the gameplay, but I will just save some things. So the loadout, on one hand, it would be very powerful, but then the problem is that USS-9 as a solo loadout just with the grid pack is a lot better, because you have better mobility, you have the melee for sprinting, and I would not really pair it with the Manowar. Simply, like I said, USS-9 is best alone, and this is the Overkill Manowar loadout. So in any case, even without gameplay, just not a good combination. BP-50 for the second best choice, and it has just a great duo alongside Manowar because you have a huge mag that you can spam bullets. So after you switch from Manowar, you have the spam ability, which is really good. However, the thing that is bad is the fact that there are many USS-9s being used, and they are a problem to BP-50. Like, of course, for all vegans they are a problem, but USS-9 kind of pushed BP-50 out of the meta, and so I don't think that it is an ideal choice. It is kind of slowish, it is basically like a baby MG42, because it has better mobility, less bullets, but also a fast fire rate, but the nerf kind of made it not that usable. And in some lobbies when I was trying out the Overkill duo with the BP-50, I simply had to switch to another weapon, to another loadout, just because BP-50 itself was not good enough in that lobby. But otherwise, it is a very valid choice to use alongside Manowar, just not in every lobby. And finally, the best pair for the Manowar in my opinion is the GKS. Now, you're asking why GKS? Well, it is basically a hybrid of USS-9 and IRH, It has good range, good bullet spread accuracy, but also decent mobility, is pretty fast, and you have 40 bullets mag, which is good alongside the Manowar. And since you don't have the assault rifle slowness, you have SMG mobility, it is just a very good gun to have alongside. And in contrast to PP90 Bizon or the CBR4, it is just more versatile. And in contrast to BP50 and FFAR1, it is just better, it is more mobile. And even in domination, it is still a benefit. And so this added versatility really makes it the best option. Now, why use it instead of USS9? Well, like I said, USS9 is best in a solo loadout. You simply don't want to pair it with the Manowar because you will be doing way better with USS9 in a grid loadout with additional 1 mobility perk or even 2 mobility packs and a melee. So you just don't want to waste USS9 in a loadout, like there is no point for it. And so GKS and the Manowar. And I think that this loadout is really good. It has potential to be amazing in some matches, especially when enemies are throwing VTOLs, chopper gunners, stealth choppers at you. You can also destroy transform shields very quickly, the sentry guns, Goliaths, etc. So it is a good loadout to have, but again, I would not recommend using it in hardpoint. It is basically a domination loadout, but a very powerful domination loadout that you can certainly use in most domination maps. And such would be the conclusions from my testing.